Hey, hello, Greg Sherwood here, and happy to have Bob Goldman as my guest right here in the KQED studio. Bob, thanks again for joining us. What fun to have you here.
Delighted to be here.
I can't wait to talk to you more. You know, Bob is a Bay Area financial planner who works with individual investors, and he's here to share some of his secrets of successful retirement planning. Now, Bob is a member of the Garrett Planning Network and the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors. And his work has appeared in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. And you've probably heard him, as I have, as he's a frequent guest on Forum right here on KQED-FM. But Bob, for all of that insider kind of stuff, you consider yourself an outsider within the financial industry.
I do, Greg. In the world of financial planners, I'm a very rare beast. I'm an hourly planner. That means I don't sell any financial products. I don't take commissions or ongoing fees. And I don't require my clients to have at least $1 million to invest. I chose to be an hourly planner because I believe it helps me be more objective. But being objective doesn't mean I'm all dollars and cents. I bring a lot of my personal life experiences to my work because my clients' goals are a lot like my goals. Buying and selling homes, financing college for kids. I have 3. Caring for aging parents, and of course, planning for retirement.
Well, I got to tell you, that's exactly where we're going, and that's what we're going to be talking about, because Bob is here actually to help us change the way you think about investing so you can take charge of your own financial future. But first, we need to... Now, Bob, let's start with this idea of taking charge. You know, there are so many people. I've been investing for many decades, and there's tons of people out there that want to help you make these decisions. Why should we be taking personal responsibility for this?
Well, Greg, the first secret of smart retirement planning is the financial industry is not your friend. Remember, it's an industry, a business whose primary goal is to make a profit, and it makes a huge profit. According to the Boston Consulting Group, in the first 6 months of 2015, a period when the Dow Jones was relatively flat, investment managers reported profits of over $100 billion.
So let me get this straight. They're making a bunch of money even if my stocks are losing money.
Well, I'm afraid that's true. And the money they make could go to you and should go to you. The industry thrives by using sophisticated marketing tactics and creating myths about what it does. They'd like you to believe that investing is way too difficult for the average person to figure out, and that you need to have a professional to manage your investments.
And of course, that professional expects to get paid.
Well, that's true. The idea is that for a very small fee, a professional will pick the best investments for you. And once you have those investments, you'll keep paying fees because they'll be keeping an eye on your investments day and night, buying and selling constantly. So you're always ahead of the markets and you make as much money as possible.
Well, on the face of it, that sounds pretty good. They're taking this little fee and taking care of business.
Well, it does sound good, but let's talk about those small fees. Most investment managers charge about 1% to manage your assets. If they put your money into mutual funds, you'll pay mutual fund fees too, sometimes another 1% or even more. So now you could be paying 1, 2, or 3% to manage your investments. That might not seem like much compared to 100%, but when you subtract those 1, 2, and 3% fees from the 4, 5, or 6% return you want to get year in and year out, suddenly those small fees become gigantic. Let me give you an example. Let's say you invest in a retirement nest egg of $100,000 and it grows at 4%. In 20 years, that nest egg is worth $220,000. You've made $120,000, which sounds good. But what if you paid a 1% management fee? You'd have to subtract $28,000. So now you've earned $92,000. But what if instead of paying that 1% fee to a manager, you had invested it on your own and you had earned 4%? You would have earned an additional $12,000 on that 1% you paid out. The bottom line is your 1% management fee cost you $40,000, or 1/3 of your total gain. And when you add mutual fund fees, you're losing a lot of money.
Well, that's a little disappointing, and it's the kind of thing where you don't even know it's happening. You're losing all this money, you don't even know it.
Well, I'm afraid that's true. The really expensive secret is that even small investment fees can take a huge chunk out of your earnings.
Okay, fair enough. I get it so far, but here's the deal. I got to pay an expert to help me out in some way, because isn't that just part of the business of investing?
Well, it doesn't have to be. The thing about investment experts is they're really not all that expert. So let me show you something here. Let's look at mutual funds. The people who run mutual funds, they're professionals, right? They can give you an advantage because they have every possible computer program and armies of PhDs at their disposal. And they have only one goal: to manage their funds in a way that beats the market. That's why you're paying them, right?
Right.
Right. But here's the secret. Most mutual funds cannot beat the appropriate market index or average for 5 consecutive years.
That is disappointing and it's kind of hard to believe.
But it's true. It's true. Last year, S&P Dow Jones studied 2,862 mutual funds to see how many of them beat their index for 5 years in a row. Greg, can you guess how many?
Okay, I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to say 20%.
Good guess. The answer is 2. Not 2%, 2 funds.
Oh, God, that is hard to believe. But so all I really have to do is just help figure out which 2 those are, the winners.
Which 2 out of the 2,800? Yeah, but that's not going to really work for you, because even if you could do it in year 6, those 2 also crashed and burned. As much as we'd all like to believe there's some person or some company or some computer out there that can beat the market year after year and make us lots of money, the truth is that person, that company, that computer simply does not exist.
Well, that's a little disappointing, because I think we all kind of grow up thinking there's somebody smarter than us that can take care of this important part of our business.
It would be very nice. And how many times have you heard people say, I have this broker, or this friend, or this expert I saw on TV, and they always beat the market. But the truth is, they don't. Nobody can. Nobody knows what will happen in the economy, or how events around the world will change the financial markets. That's why the next retirement planning secret isn't exactly a secret, but it's important. No one can predict the future.
Well, I buy that. That's got to be true.
Well, I'm afraid it is. So why would you pay someone big fees to do something that's impossible? It's taking money out of your own pocket and making a big dent in your retirement savings, all to pay for something that can't be done. I believe there's a better way. And at our event in February, I'm going to show you how to manage your own retirement money in a way that I believe can earn you more and cost you less. So I hope you'll join us then. But for now, just remember this. In investing, you get what you don't pay for.
Indeed. Well, you could pay a lot of money to a financial advisor and not get the kind of straightforward, practical information we're sharing with you right now. And I'm buying your story so far. The financial industry is not on my side. They're a profit-making organization, and it's going to come out of my pocket. But still, and obviously I'm paying for that. But I really don't. How would I start to do it on my own? That sounds pretty scary.
Well, it shouldn't be scary. If no one can beat the stock market consistently, the next secret of smart retirement planning is don't try. Successful individual investors ignore the markets.
Now, that's hard to believe. So you're telling me to just ignore the market?
I know. It sounds shocking, but so many people who come to me say, I don't care about the stock market. I don't want to spend time studying it. I have other things to do with my life. To which I say, terrific. Your lack of caring means you may have exactly what it takes to be a good investor.
So you're telling me that not caring is actually going to improve my performance?
It's true, and I really mean it. Investors get in trouble when they're constantly making changes in their portfolio because of something they've heard on TV or read in the newspaper or overheard in the coffee room at work. I believe the best retirement strategy is to ignore what anyone says is going to happen in the markets. Instead, focus on something you do know a lot about. Your needs and your goals. You want to invest based on where you are now and where you want to go, not on any market predictions.
Okay, that sounds brilliantly realistic, but so how do I do that?
Okay. Well, if your retirement goals are modest, you may have enough money right now. You may not have to invest at all. And let's face it, why take on risk if you don't have to? On the other hand, if your retirement goals seem beyond your reach, you may have to invest more aggressively.
Okay, that makes sense, but how do you determine just how aggressively you got to approach this problem?
Well, you've got to start by being honest about what you want. When you think of retirement, what do you see? Do you see yourself moving to Tuscany, buying a vineyard, and starting to bottle Chianti? That's the kind of goal that would be a stretch for most people. And in order to reach it, you'll probably have to be a more aggressive investor. And frankly, it may not work out, but at least you're investing for your own reasons, not because some so-called expert said healthcare stocks are going to be big next year.
Well, okay, I buy all that, but what if, an Italian villa is not exactly in my future plans?
Well, let's say your dream is slightly different. What if your retirement dream is to move to Utah and live in a yurt? That's the kind of retirement lots of people could afford right now. If that's your goal, how should you invest? Or should you invest at all? You might be able to reach your goals with all your money in CDs.
Even with the rates at historically low levels?
Yes, and that's one of the things I'm going to teach you at our event, how to tailor your investment strategy to meet your goals. And that's important because most people have retirement plans that fall somewhere between villas and yurts. And their investment portfolio should fall somewhere between aggressive and conservative.
So, and if I've got it right, at the event coming up in February, what you're going to do for us, Bob, is help us understand which investments are appropriate for whatever plan you've determined is right for you?
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. I'm going to start by giving you nuts and bolts information about investing so you can have the confidence to start building your own retirement portfolio. I'll also suggest the types of mutual funds available for you to consider, and we'll talk about how to allocate your assets.
You can learn all that and more if you talked all about figuring out all these different things. We've got to figure out how aggressive we are. We got to figure out what our own personal plan is, come up with that plan. But aren't there like a million choices out there for investing? I still feel like I need some sort of expertise that I don't have.
Well, let me see if I can help. I think you should start and you should finish with mutual funds that don't have high-price managers making high-price mistakes, because they're not really managed at all. They're called index funds. An index fund reflects a market. It could be the U.S. stock market, the U.S. bond market, the international stock market. Almost any type of investment you might want to make is probably available as an index fund.
Well, that sounds actually interesting. So how do they work?
Here's an example. A U.S. stock market index fund has every stock that's in the U.S. stock market in the same percentage as it is in the real stock market. If Exxon is 1% of the total U.S. stock market, it's 1% of the U.S. stock market index fund. If Apple is 0.5%, it's 0.5% in the index.
So basically, you're just buying the entire market or a little piece of it.
That's right. That's right. You might want to ask, though, why would you want to pick an index fund instead of simply buying a fund that throws out all the bad stocks and only keeps the good ones? Well, as we've seen before, the answer to that is no one can make those choices. No one can constantly pick only the best stocks and avoid all the worst stocks. But if you own every stock in the U.S. stock market, good, bad, and in between, you get some amazing advantages.
Well, can you outline those for us?
Absolutely. One, and this is a big one, is that you don't have anyone making mistakes when they pick and choose investments. And two, another big one, you don't have to pay anyone to make those mistakes. If you think of the stock market as a casino, and lots of people do, think of somebody's specific investment choices like bets on the roulette wheel. You can buy an actively managed mutual fund or pay an investment advisor and bet one or two numbers, the stocks or funds they pick. If you win, you'll win big, but there's no guarantee you'll win very often, and you're going to pay a significant fee. With an index fund, the fees are very low, and no one is picking the lucky numbers. You're betting on every number, so your chances of winning are much better.
So basically, it's a way of hedging your investment strategy out. But you could still lose money because the stock market could go down and you're still going to pay some money, right?
I'm afraid that's true. Index funds can lose money. And when it comes to investing, there are no guarantees. I don't know any investment that doesn't have a degree of risk. And I don't know any investment strategy that is guaranteed to help you reach your retirement goals. But diversifying your portfolio the way you do in an index fund can help offset some of that risk. And the fees you pay for an index fund are very, very low compared to your typical actively managed mutual fund. In fact, the average index fund charges just a fraction of 1%. And we've seen over time how that can make a huge difference in the size of your retirement nest egg.
Okay, so you've convinced me that an index fund is a smart way to go, but my guess is, and I'm guessing here, that there's an awful lot of index funds to pick from as well. So how do you choose the right one?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about on February 9th. You can learn which ones to pick, because here's the most important secret of successful financial retirement planning. You can do it yourself. I believe you can take an honest look at your situation and put together a portfolio of low-cost investments that can help you reach those goals, so you can have the retirement you want. I really do believe you can manage your own investments, and you can do it better than anyone else. Because no one cares more about your retirement than you do. No one else knows what will make you feel financially secure when you retire. No one else understands your dreams for the future. And no one else will always put you first. I want to give you the tools and the information you need to manage your money with confidence. So I hope you'll join us for our February event.
Good advice. And you know what? You can, Bob, with that, now I'm getting excited about the event. Can you tell us a few more things that we're going to learn if we take the time to come to the city and spend a couple hours with you?
Well, and I really hope you do, because I'm going to give you the information and tools you need to create and manage your own retirement investment portfolio. And even if you do decide at the end of the event that you don't want to do it yourself, you'll have the knowledge you need and the confidence you want to make informed decisions going forward. I'm going to show you how to start at the beginning by assessing your financial situation and thinking about your retirement timeline. You might want to ask yourself questions like, do you love your work? Do you want to work until you're 80? Or do you want to quit tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to answer right now. Do you have a grip on how much you're spending? Are you spending too much? Are you spending too little?
No, you got to be kidding on that one.
No, it really does happen. Then once you've taken a look at where you are, we'll work on setting short-term and long-term goals. What's the ideal retirement plan for you? Will you stay in the Bay Area, or will you be like half the people I work with who have to sell their houses to fund their retirement? If you are going to sell, when are you going to do that? And where are you going to go?
So simply put, Bob, what you're saying is you got to do some soul searching here, because you got to make some real decisions to make that plan.
That's exactly right. But the nice thing about it is, and why it shouldn't be so threatening, is that you're making decisions about you. You're the only one who's going to know the right answers, and you will know those answers. Then, once you've got your goals nailed down, you then need to pick the right investments. We've talked about using index funds, but that tells you how you're going to invest, not what you're going to invest in. At our program, I'm going to explain how to put together a portfolio that's widely diversified, low cost, and structured to help you reach your goals by the time you retire. I'll also talk about some other issues that could be important to you, like when you do retire and you no longer have a salary, where will the money come from?
That's a great question.
That's a good question. And where should it come from? We'll talk about when you should take Social Security. It's complicated, and the law has recently changed.
I know, and boy, I'm in that boat with everybody having to make that decision right about now.
Well, we'll go through the different options. We'll talk about why you should have cash, even if you don't earn more than 1/10 of 1%.
Whoa.
Yeah. and why you shouldn't look at your portfolio more than once a year.
Well, that's strange, but I'm beginning to understand what you mean by that. And of course, Bob will answer more of your questions at the event as well. So if you can join us, I think you'll agree it will be time well spent. Remember, time is up, but I want to thank you so much for being here, and I'll look forward to seeing you in February.
Likewise.
And we hope that we get to see you at Bob's event as well. So please make your donation before the end of this fundraiser. Thanks again from all of us right here at community-supported KQED.